Welcome to April's edition of What's Happening at the Boat Shop. I'm here with John Linsley.
Hello.
Always a winner on camera. John's been working on this Herreshoff 12.5. So this little guy was built, what, 80s?
80s at Strawberry Bank.
Built in the 80s at Strawberry Bank. Pretty nice job, and belongs to one of our customers, lives up in Durham, and she's been leaking pretty consistently. So what did we find, John? You're the doctor here.
Well, I think the biggest culprit, or one of the culprits, was that the bolts for the lead keel had compacted the floor timbers enough so that it was just slowly, over time, with the compression of the mast and everything, just pushing the lead down. So she had a lot of leaking in here. So we put some big G10 washers, 1/4-inch G10 washers on lead into the floor timbers, so that shouldn't compact anymore. So what we did is we loosened off the keel bolts. I dropped the lead down enough, put in a shim and a ton of goop between the lead and the keelson, and tightened all that back up with the new washers in there, and that pulled everything up tighter. So the garboard seam from the garboard plank to the keelson closed up a bit. And then we reefed out the seams and just recocked it. So I think that's going to really be the big thing, because it was leaking even just sitting on a mooring or sitting at the dock. Yeah. It wasn't just under sail, but it got worse under sail. So she was bailing and sailing at the same time.
One of the things you pointed out to me, if you look inside, you can see on the after keel bolt, unless you got rid of it.
No, it's still there.
There's a big green streak for coming from under the floor timber running forward, so water was clearly coming up through that bolt hole, catching the oxidization, the verdigris from the keel bolt, and then running down to the lower part of the hull. So that was a pretty obvious issue there that John picked up on, which was nice. But this one's owner maintained. She does a really good job.
Yeah. Yeah, she does all her, bright work and paint and everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll just throw a little more cotton in the bottom and then put some seam compound in and paint and ship it.
Ship it.
I think, unless she wants other stuff, but I don't think she does.
I'll give her the bill and see if she wants other stuff. That's always the way
Right.
it goes.
So.
But yeah, I just ordered boot top paint and all that, so
Perfect.
You'll have it soon.
Cool.
Cool. Well, that's stage 12.5.
Yeah.
Always good stuff. And then you'll get to that after.
Yes, that's
Noah's
filler
Ark
work
over there.
for now, but yeah, that's coming.
Yeah.
That's coming.
Don't worry, I keep finding more stuff for you.
Good.
More horrible jobs.
These aren't horrible jobs.
I think I got a guy with a fiberglass Amesbury skiff needs a transom.
Oh, okay.
How about that?
I've seen that happen.
This is an Apprentice repaired bank dory. This was a donation that we got that the bottom had completely rotted out of. Boat that I built in a class years and years ago with a bunch of people. And it's got new fiberglass bottom, painted. It's ready to get turned over and get the inside. The apprentices have been a little preoccupied making a domicile for a peacock, for a pair of peacocks. And so they haven't been working on this, but we're going to start picking up on this because it's going to go in the water with the rest of the boats in the next few weeks. Somehow, even though we all have calendars, the spring seems to creep on up on us every year. But at least the docks are around. This guy here, pay no attention to this. This is a bracket that I am building for my own boat, which had, so in the 60s, 70s, with the Amesbury skiffs, they used to build like a well, I suppose, like a U-shaped well into these boats, and the thought was that the surrounding boat would add flotation for the engine. They wouldn't just transom hang them. But the problem with that is it takes 3 feet out of your boat, and so on a boat that I was fortunate enough to receive recently, it has that, and I'm going to take the engine out of the well, and I'm going to close that well up and make it make it a big sofa back there, and then I'm going to bolt this. Obviously, it's going to be fully enclosed and glassed and everything, so it's basically just a fully enclosed watertight pod. I'm going to reinforce everything here, very much so. But this will end up getting bolted onto the transom, and then I'll hang the engine here, and I'll have myself a boat that's a couple, 3 feet longer, but a nice little bracket. It also is a really nice kind of swim platform. I might put a couple of built-in steps here so that I can just get out of the water up onto the back of this thing and all of that. And I hope, beyond all hope, and I have no one to blame but myself, that it doesn't just crumple when I'm beaten into a head sea and the engine falls off and it's hanging by the steering cables. But again, I can't yell at anybody but myself for that. Come on over here. So John's got the Mohawk coming along pretty good. Got it flipped over and glassed. And now you can really see how we are doing these bottoms and garbards. And this, when it's all painted, like that dory over there, you'd never know that it was not a traditional boat, other than the fact that you can't see the seams. And so he got his skeg glued down the other day. He's working on the other part, and this will start to get painted soon. These need to, or this particular one needs to get out to Mohawk relatively soon, because they're getting their waterfront put together out there. So, and yes, everyone's been waiting for the gig. Here we go. So it doesn't look like much, but I got this stern knee bit in, and it looks kind of funny because I glued on these cedar cheeks here. So the knee is inside, and then there's about, well, it tapers to nothing, comes out to maybe 1.5 inches or so out here. And really what it's doing, it's not adding a whole lot of structure, it's just taking up space so water doesn't sit in here and rot this whole thing out. And I kept the frame running all the way in, both of these, partially to add strength and to index the knee, but also I wanted to know where I needed to bevel this down to. So this was my defining measurement, and so that gave me some ideas on how much of this I needed to take away when I started to take it away. And then the other day I got this apron stuck down, and I had beveled it quite a bit, certainly back here. So the planking back here is going to end up, pretty much vertical. I have more material to take off, but pretty much vertical, so there won't be much of a rabbet at all on the keel here. But then as you go forward, it's going to start to rotate a little bit to 90 degrees up in the middle part of the boat, and so we'll have to take the keel and add some rabbet, like a rolling bevel, as we go up forward. And I'm going to take some measurements for that today. Maybe Ann will stick around and I can go over how that works. But I also need to get an espresso or two and think about it in my head myself before I go explaining it to you folks. But anyway, this is sort of the pivotal step for getting the keel on and starting to plank. So once the keel is on, we can start thinking about some garbards and all that, which is good. And I can choose to leave this in or not leave it. I am headed to Aruba in the next week. He's got a traditional Arubian boat that the bottom planking was all toast on. I got to go teach him how to plank his boat, and hopefully he can go from there. This might sit for a minute while I'm away, but hopefully next time we're talking there'll be some serious progress here, maybe some planks getting steamed into place, which is always a handful. So that's what's going on here. Here's what's coming up. What's this? April 23rd. We have our final Winter Speaker Series event at Beowulf Brewing, and it is Peacock, which is 20 slides, 20 seconds each. So short little talks that quickly catch you up on what people are doing. So we have several of those. If anyone's maybe interested in presenting a Peacock, get in touch with us and we can see what we can do. Make that program a little longer. And the 25th, so 2 days after that, we have a class here, building your own raised garden bed, just in time for Mother's Day. So if you're looking for a gift for mom, or you're just interested in learning how to read some plans and make yourself a garden bed, you can come here and learn how to do that. And that's April 25th. And then May 2nd, we're already talking about May. It's getting warm out there. It's looking like boating season. May 2nd is a coastal navigation class with Jane Alfeld. And again, Jane is a wonderful teacher. And these are skills that you would need if you're going to take your Mass Boater Safety Certificate class, which you will need if you're going to run a boat in Massachusetts. So anyway, those are the upcoming classes. We're working on some spring events, like a little open house, a little spring open house, and our summer events like rosé and raw bar, lobster bakes, things like that. Stay tuned for those events. If you don't get word on those, you should put your email in so we can, or sign up for our email newsletter, and you'll hear all about it. You can check the website, but if you sign up for our emails, you will definitely get it. If you follow us on Instagram, you will definitely hear about it. So those are your two main ways to get information from us, or you can watch these videos, which is great, every month, and you'll get it all here. But you got to watch till the end, because all the good stuff comes at the end. So thanks for listening. Come see us. We're getting into summer, so summer visitation season's coming up, and thanks for watching. And then I want to try. Don't go very far, John Linsley. You got to be on TV.
You're gonna be on TV, John Lindsay.
Come on. No, you about face. Let's go.